Today, we are diving deep into, well, a kind of terrifying question. Is this whole AI boom headed straight for another AI winter? You know, that catastrophic drop in funding, in confidence, that just wipes things out.
Yeah, it's a big question on everyone's mind. And our sources, they actually give a pretty clear answer, but maybe not the one people expect.
Because the previous winters, thinking back to the 70s and then the late 80s again, those were really triggered by technical failures, weren't they?
Exactly. You had systems that just couldn't handle real-world complexity. They hit walls like the combinatorial explosion problem. The tech itself wasn't ready for prime time.
But the core finding now, from what we've seen, is that this time, the risk isn't really technical. I mean, the technology demonstrably works.
That's the key difference. The risk profile has shifted. Now it's primarily economic and legal.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the economics.
What's fascinating here is just the sheer scale of the financial pressure. It's immense. We're in this, well, unprecedented capital expenditure supercycle. It's an infrastructure build-out unlike almost anything we've seen outside massive government projects.
Give us the number on that, because I saw it and it's staggering.
We're looking at roughly $7 trillion. That's trillion with a T. In capital expenditures globally over just the next 5 years.
7 trillion.
And about 70% of that, maybe more, is earmarked specifically for AI-driven expansion. Think data centers. Their capacity is set to nearly triple by 2030 just to handle the training and, running these huge models.
Just to put that $7 trillion in perspective for everyone listening, that's larger than the entire GDP of Japan.
It's a mind-boggling figure, truly.
Insane amount of money pouring into hardware. But here's the paradox, right? Are businesses actually getting value back from this incredible spending? The sources seem to say, mostly no.
Precisely. That's the ROI chasm. The disconnect between the spending and the actual value delivered is acute. There's one really astonishing statistic floating around.
The 95% one.
Yeah, that 95% of enterprise AI projects are failing to deliver a measurable return on investment. They get stuck. They stall out in what people are calling the pilot to production chasm.
And that chasm, that's the real bottleneck, isn't it? It sounds like companies build these cool proofs of concept, these pilots.
Right, they look great in a lab setting.
But they just can't integrate them into the messy real-world operations, the places where they'd actually make or save money. Is that down to, talent, or is it more about the scope?
It's often a scope problem, and it's rooted in the sheer scale and, crucially, data governance needed for production. Building a stable, safe, scalable AI system that works reliably in the wild. It's just vastly more complex than the pilot that got the green light.
Okay.
And while that value is slow to show up for users, the big players, the ones developing the foundational models, they're burning cash like crazy just to stay ahead.
Like OpenAI.
OpenAI is a prime example. Projections show them burning through $8 billion in cash in 2025. Just gone.
$8 billion.
In 1 year. And they apparently don't see themselves hitting positive cash flow until maybe 2029. And that's only if they hit this huge projected revenue target of, $125 billion?
That level of speculation, it just can't last forever without real, tangible returns hitting the bottom line somewhere, right?
It feels unsustainable long-term without major breakthroughs in monetization or efficiency, which makes the legal side even scarier.
Yeah, because if the economics are already fragile, these legal threats, they seem existential. They go right for the data, the foundation. Here's where it gets really interesting. The single biggest systemic risk, according to the sources, is this copyright fight, specifically the New York Times versus OpenAI and Microsoft.
Absolutely. This lawsuit, it's potentially a system shock because it directly challenges the core practice of how these massive models are built, training them on vast amounts of scraped internet data.
And the argument revolves around fair use, the legal defense.
Correct. The Times is basically arguing that the AI's outputs, like summaries generated by ChatGPT, are a direct substitute for their original journalism.
So it bypasses their paywall, hurts their market.
Exactly. Which, if proven, severely undermines the fair use defense. And the scary part isn't just about paying damages.
No, but what they're asking the court to do.
It's the remedy they're seeking.
Yeah.
It's potentially cataclysmic for the industry. The Times has actually asked the court to order the destruction of all GPT or other LLM models that were trained using its copyrighted material.
Destruction, that's the nuclear option, isn't it?
Pretty much. If the Times wins and gets a ruling that forces destruction, or even just a massive overhaul and retraining, it changes everything overnight. The industry would suddenly face incredibly complex, incredibly expensive data licensing for everything.
So, okay, We've got this unprecedented spending, huge infrastructure build-out, but it's not really delivering profit yet for most users.
Right. The ROI isn't there at scale.
And layered on top is this fundamental legal challenge that could potentially force them to destroy the very models they've spent billions building. What's the synthesis here? Are we definitely headed for a full, deep AI winter like before?
Well, if you connect all these dots, a full, sudden, lights-out AI winter seems unlikely this time. The tech is genuinely useful now. It's too integrated, especially within the big tech companies who have diversified funding streams.
Yeah, not a total collapse.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But the probability of something like an AI autumn, a severe, painful market correction, lots of consolidation, deflating valuations, that seems like the most probable scenario. It stems from these twin pressures, the shaky economics and the looming legal risk.
Okay, so if you're listening, what's the key indicator? What should you be watching most closely?
It really all comes down to the rulings in those copyright lawsuits. The New York Times case is the bellwether. That legal clarity or lack thereof will dictate the true cost of data moving forward and ultimately the viability of the current AI business model itself.
Which determines if that $7 trillion bet pays off.
Exactly. So what does this all mean? This raises an important question. Think about it. The constant acceleration of AI, it sort of creates this AI wormhole. You have predictive AI pulling the future closer, making it feel present, while generative AI makes the past kind of malleable, remixable.
Pulling the future in, making the past changeable.
Yeah, it challenges our basic sense of time, what philosophers call presentism, the idea that only the present is real. AI almost forces us into thinking more like a block universe, where past, present, future are all equally accessible, equally real in some sense. That mental shift, that's the ultimate future shock we really need to navigate.